And it says we're live, so what's going on, everybody? Classic Game Freak here.
And retired by choice.
Today we're actually coming back after, God, how long has it been? Like a month and a half? 2 months?
Feels about like 3 years.
Yeah, actually, I think that's about right. About 3 years. The gaming gods have not been nice to us. Anytime we go to do a show, something comes up in our schedules. So if it isn't overtime at work, it's ER visits and whatnot.
Yeah, that was a fun thing last night.
Mm. I hope all that went well.
I'm here today and I'm talking, so that's half the battle.
There you go. Live to tell the tale, right?
Yep, yep.
So, this week was a big week in gaming. I don't know, I consider it kind of better than Christmas normally, because it's like all week long, and like, I don't know about you, but I always like watch the coverage. Like, that is my thing to do, and I'm always left feeling empty when it's over. But, E3.
E3, yes. It
E3.
was, it was Christmas in June. Usually it's Christmas in June. This year, not as impressive as previous years, but still it came.
Right. We came, we saw, it's over with.
Yep.
I agree with you on that. It really didn't feel as spectacular as the previous years, but to me it felt like this year the big three, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, were kind of in the same playing field this year.
Yeah, it seemed like they were playing it very safe, not announcing anything really big in ways of hardware updates or any new services. It seemed like they were trying to focus more on games. And I know with the PS4 in general, they need more games in their library to be able to contend with Xbox and the Nintendo, who's been out for a little bit longer than the other two systems.
Right, right. Yeah, Wii U's been out for, it'll be 2 years this year already,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yep, 2 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when it came out. So I mean, they still have kind of a library that's quantity over quality, in my opinion. But still, they have more games out. PS4 has really kind of got a lackluster library right now, and Xbox One still kind of the same thing, kind of ho hum, in my opinion.
Well, when you think of the three companies, Nintendo has a roster that the other two companies just cannot contend with. They have the Zelda series, they have the Star Fox series, they have the Mario series, Yoshi, you name it, they got it. So they have a pre-built fan base, going into it. So as
Right.
far as the other two systems, I can't really think of more than one or two per the other two systems. Like Xbox is going to always have the Halo series. That thing's not going to die ever.
Right.
And PlayStation, I honestly can't think of one IP that's their mainstay, their crying glory.
Actually, I would say Uncharted is a big one. Naughty Dog, Little Big Planet, Sackboy kind of seems to be kind of a um, what's the word I'm looking for? Mascot for Sony.
Yeah.
Pretty much any character that was in Sony All Stars, or what was the name of that game? Something All Stars. You know what I'm talking about, right? The one that was the Smash Brothers kind of rip off,
Yeah.
knockoff.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I would definitely say Uncharted's a big one. That was actually one that they showed at E3, was Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which was actually really neat looking.
Yeah, it looked interesting. But for me myself, I've never been a big fan of the Uncharted series. It just
Really?
Yeah, I played the first one and I started playing the second one and I put it down, never finished it.
Wow. I I I've always kind of liked the series. Like, I remember seeing the first Uncharted for the first time and being totally impressed with the tech in the game because I played a demo at a friend's house, and I remember wading through some water and getting out of the water, and Nathan Drake's pants were like halfway soaked. You could see where he had been in the water, and the water was dripping off his pants. It was just like that right there sold me, and I just loved the series ever since.
Right. Well, not every game's for everyone, and
That's true.
that one just happens to not be for me.
Right, like some people really dig like Halo, and I mean others don't. I mean, there's
Yes.
some people that just have like a problem with it for no reason. It's like, oh, Halo sucks, you know. You have other people that just genuinely don't like the gameplay, the mechanics of the game. I mean, like me for instance, like I like Halo. It's okay, but it's not something I'm going gaga over. I own Halo like 3 and 4. Um, but I personally don't like the mechanics of the game. Like multiplayer, forget it.
Right. Well, I'm not a fan of that stuff either. I mean, I have a copy of Halo 2 only because I got it for free when I bought another game from someone on Craigslist. But
Mm,
I never put it in my system. I never even played it. I'm not a fan of. I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooters. Ironically, I don't like the Call of Duties. I don't like the Black Ops. I don't like any of that stuff really.
no
But
Battlefield for you or anything like that.
no, no, I the only kind of first-person shooters I usually do play are like the old school Call of Duties, like the first and second ones where it's set in World War II, or the old Medal of Honors, where they were all
Right.
World War II set. I enjoyed those type of first-person shooters. But in the same token, a lot of people will call like Fallout or Borderlands first-person shooter, and in a sense they are, but they're also more like sandbox games because there's more to it than just you know point, click, shoot.
Right. It's a sandbox RPG, kind of a looting type game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bastardized mashup, like the most ultimate mutant you can think of in the Marvel universe, all into one game.
Right. Right. And I mean, I don't see those anywhere near like a Call of Duty, like a first-person shooter, hardcore first-person shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield or Halo or anything like that.
Nor do I, sir. I strongly disagree with anyone that says it is. But there's still those people out there who say, well, all it is a first-person shooter. You have a gun, right? You run around and shoot bad guys, right? Shut up. You're an idiot.
Well, I mean, in that token, in that aspect, I'd like to see them try to play like Fallout on hardcore mode, where you really do have to watch what you're carrying at all times. I mean, even ammo
Yeah.
is weight. So, I mean, there's a strategy to it. I mean, there's a strategy element, there's an RPG element, there's the sandbox element. All of that's thrown into one. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, you pick up X amount of ammo, you're carrying that. Some games you're carrying multiple weapons. Like, I mean, I don't understand how you can carry, a heavy, large machine gun, an SMG, couple of pistols, a rocket launcher, and some super secret BFG like Doom weapon all at once. Just there's two different categories for them.
Yeah, there's definitely different categories from them. And, I mean, not just in that sense, but, the games like Borderlands and Fallout, they're to me they seem to be more character driven than say a Call of Duty game where you're Sergeant X and you're off on a mission. Whereas like Borderlands, you're a siren, you're a berserker, you're some kind of class or character that's got a personality about them.
Right. And you've got a whole skill tree. You can play that character differently each playthrough if you want because of the skill tree. Um, that reminds me of even like an MMO, like World of Warcraft, setting your character the way you want to play it.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to describe or set in a certain genre a lot of these newer games nowadays because they're not just one particular thing.
Right, right.
Games like Borderlands and Fallout and World of Warcraft are great examples of that.
Yeah. Um, shoot. Yeah, that's true. I would like to see more of that. One thing I'm kind of surprised we didn't see at E3, kind of getting back to E3 here. Um, like I kind of expected it, but then again I didn't because they've been really mum's the word. But Fallout 4.
Sir, don't even get me started on Fallout 4. I I've been reading a lot of stuff about Fallout 4, and Bethesda is actually put Fallout 4 on the back burner until they get another game out into the world. I actually had that down as a conversation piece for one of our previous shows that we didn't do.
Really?
Um, I can thumb through this booklet real quick and see if I can find it.
Right
I'm
on.
not going to spend too much time on it. Yeah, I'm not finding it right off the bat. So let's just keep talking about E3.
Yeah. Okay, well, what we were discussing earlier is we wanted to do a kind of a top 5 from this year's E3. We can do that here in a second. I wrote down a few things. I didn't see all three of the conferences. I didn't see Nintendo's Direct Show or whatever they do. I read kind of the bullet points, read about the games. Same with Microsoft. I saw a lot of what they had to offer. I didn't actually watch the whole conference. I watched Sony's. I watched a little bit of EA's, and I mean, overall, I wasn't like I liked Sony's. Um, Nintendo, I heard, was kind of short and sweet,
Nintendo
but
was really short. I mean, compared to Sony's and Microsoft's, it was like about 45 minutes shorter than each.
oh wow. See, I didn't know the exact running time on it.
Yeah, it was a lot shorter. It wasn't even like a full-on presentation. It was a digital presentation.
Yeah, kind of like their normal little Nintendo Direct shows.
That's yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah. I don't, I wish like they'd go back to doing the conferences and so on. I think the last one they did is when they unveiled the 3DS, and I don't know. I felt like they had more of a presence then, and now it's like pay no attention to that company behind the curtain, you know?
Well, it goes back to the fact that they got the prestige in the gaming industry where they can do pretty much anything they want, and everyone laps it up like it's the Kool-Aid of the gods.
Yeah, they're.
I did find that bullet point I was talking about with Fallout 4.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
there's gonna be no Fallout 4 until 2016 because Bethesda is working on Wolfenstein.
Ah, what?
Yeah,
Well, then that means they should be working on Fallout 4 now.
they should be, but like I said, it's not coming out to 2016.
Hey, all I gotta say is, as long as it's polished as hell, bring it
It better
on.
be. They've been working on this thing forever. I mean, if you think about it, the last real Fallout game was Fallout 3, unless you want to count New Vegas, which just seemed like a thrown together, you know, turbot. But
It.
I don't know about you. I bought New Vegas day one, and that game was glitchy as hell. I have never seen a game as glitchy as that. It's almost like, oh, we got a due date. It's got to go out now. We'll patch it later.
Yeah, there is no such thing as shipping a game out completely bugless these days. I mean, this isn't the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis these days. Everything's gonna need to be patched. And the real crummy part about that is the fact that it doesn't matter how, like you can patch it and go to play it 4 hours later and it'll have another patch, and there's no like impulsive gaming anymore because of that.
Right. Yeah, that's the only bad thing about buying games nowadays. Because I mean, if you buy it day one, there's no guarantee that you're going to be playing the same game right then and there as person who waits 3 months to buy it and gets all the patches and it's working correctly, and it's two different gaming experiences.
Exactly. Exactly. Um. Anyway, getting kind of back to E3 here. I know we're wanting to keep it pretty much within a certain time limit, and I don't know about you, but I wrote down quite a bit. So, um,
I got a poster there too.
first off, I don't know about you, but like there was some games absent from this year's E3, which I listed three for one, and a lot of people were excited for it, and they just straight up announced it wasn't going to be there. Was Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, I am a fan of that gaming series, and I really enjoyed it. And I was surprised when Sony said that it's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, they didn't they. Yeah, they announced at last year's E3 Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's like, why would you announce that if you're not ready to show anything on it yet? I mean, I don't know about other people, but that just pisses me off when I have to wait 4 years for a game that was announced. You know, it's going to be another Duke Nukem Forever or something like that. And it's going to take X amount of years for the game to come out. Even though they've wet our whistles.
Well, don't say that because Duke Nukem Forever was horrible.
Exactly. We waited that long for Duke Nukem Forever, and we got a steaming turd.
That we did.
So, and I'm a big Duke Nukem fan. I loved Duke Nukem 3D. I loved designing levels for it back in the day. And so when Duke Nukem Forever was finally coming out, like, I was waiting. Like, I watched the trailers over and over and over again, and then we got that, like I said, just that steaming turd. It broke my heart.
Well, I think what made it the worst about that was the fact that they showed it like at almost every E3 from '98 until almost the day it came out.
Oh yeah, and then it switched hands from like 3D Realms to Gearbox, which when I heard Gearbox picked it up, I was like, yes, the same people that made Borderlands. You got Randy Pitchford there. It's like, yeah, Duke Nukem, badass. This we can't wait to show you guys the game. I'm like, yeah, Borderlands, just so awesome. This is gonna be awesome. And then it came out, and I was like, you've hurt me, Gearbox. You've hurt me.
I don't think it was a good situation for Gearbox because I think whatever they would have released would have been horrible anyway because it was built up so much and people have been waiting for it for 15 years, and when it finally came out it was just disappointing.
Yeah.
So Gearbox could have made it a Borderlands 3-esque type of game and it still would have probably failed to sell.
Right. I don't know, but Gearbox, it seems like their best thing is Borderlands. Like they do some great stuff in Borderlands, but they go try to make something else, and it's crap. Um, Aliens, Colonial Marines. I don't think I need to say anything else.
I actually have the great pleasure of never playing that.
I have played a little bit of it, and no, I wasn't going to play much more than that.
There's some IPs that just should not be done, and Aliens has got such a rabid fan base and such a legacy behind it that I don't think anyone can do that game, do a game for that series justice. I mean, I can't think of one studio that would take that IP and just make it this pop.
Ah, I'm staying hopeful. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I'm staying hopeful on this one. I'm going to stay optimistic, but Alien Isolation is being worked on. I've seen trailers of it. I've seen it played by some, like IGN and so on, and it looks scary. It looks scary as hell.
Well, scary is relative, sir.
Scary as in, like, Yeah, it's gonna make you jump. The game looks like it's got like I mean, you're not running around shooting a bunch of aliens. I mean, you're running from these aliens. You know, you. I don't think I'm not sure. I don't think you're Ripley. I think you're like Ripley's daughter or something like that. But it it's got that factor. It's got that alien vibe to it that could make it a really good aliens game.
Well, I
So
hope so.
it's about time. We need one because
Yeah,
we need something to do that series justice.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Aliens is a series I'd love to see done well. I'd love to see a Terminator game come out that looks good.
That ain't gonna happen. You know, it's just that's gonna be just straight tie-in to every movie that comes out. I mean, you know, they have the new Terminator movie that's being worked on, and you know, as soon as that movie's about to come out, they're gonna make a tie-in game that's just gonna be awful. I don't think anybody wants to attempt an actual good Terminator game, and that's a shame right there because it could be really great.
If they could do a Terminator game that is like between the Sarah Connor Chronicles
Mm-hmm.
and the what's the last one that came out? Uh,
Salvation.
there you go. If they can do some kind of movie that goes in between those two movies and
Mm-hmm.
do it right, it could be good.
I think so too. Then again, I would just totally like to see a uh, Terminator game that's based around just in the future. Doesn't even need to relate to John Connor. It can be just a different sect of the Resistance versus the Terminators. I mean, even if you wanted to, a straight up multiplayer game. Make it sort of like a Battlefield if you wanted to. But you know what? They have so much they can play around with there, and they're not doing it. They're not tapping that resource, and that's a crying shame.
Yeah, definitely. They could even do like a multiplayer game where it's kind of like the Left 4 Dead multiplayer, where you got
Ooh.
three people playing as the survivors and you got one playing as the zombie. Do it to where you got three people playing as the Resistance fighting against the Terminators with one Terminator,
Oh, that would be neat.
right?
See, look, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's so much untapped possibility right there. And I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of licensing or what. Maybe it costs too much just to get the name, you know. I don't know, but they really need to. They can make a great game. It's just I don't know. It's just maybe the market's oversaturated with Battlefields and Call of Duties. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid to. So.
That could be. That could be. I mean, it's hard to say. As long as they don't make another Terminator 2 arcade game, I'm fine.
Hey, now I actually enjoyed that back in the day.
Oh, back in the day, I did too. I popped in mini quarters in that arcade game. Doesn't make it a good game. I also playing a lot of quarters in Revolution X.
Oh yeah, I had that one on the Saturn. That was a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie. That game was awful, but it was so good at the same time.
Exactly. I had it for the Genesis, and I play that thing daily.
Oh man, um, it and it was bad. Like I mean,
It was horribly bad.
I mean, Aerosmith throwing keys at you through a TV screen. It's like, here, take this. Music is the weapon. It's like,
Music is
oh,
the weapon. That's the tagline.
that was.
I love the fact that he had a gun that shot CDs.
Yes, thank you. And they exploded. It was like, oh, you know what? That would be perfect for another episode of the Classically Retarded Show, talking about guilty pleasure games.
Definitely, I'm down for that. We just gotta make sure we do it within the next year or so.
Yeah, yeah. Debuting this time next year, when we do our next episode, will be guilty pleasure video games.
We're here first, folks.
So okay, so anyway, yeah, another game that wasn't shown was Last Guardian. There was rumor it had been canceled, And then another game, Cyberpunk. I think it's like Cyberpunk 2077. I know that development company's working on The Witcher 3, which freaking looks amazing. But
Yeah, it is.
those are the ones. I mean, they didn't show them at E3 this year, and I mean, I was a little kind of curious about it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about our top 5. Um, I have a top 6. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with it. I'll go ahead and let you start out the list here.
Well, fine. If you're gonna have me do that, I'm gonna add one to my list. I'll have a 6 now.
Sweet.
All right. So my number 6, I just now add is going to be Assassin's Creed Unity.
Really?
That game looks sick. I mean, when I first heard that it was going to be a multiplayer game, I was like, that's going to be dumb. But then when I started watching the footage there at E3 of how they do it, I was like, that's amazing, because there's been many times in Assassin's Creed games where I'm going through these missions going, God, this sucks, because it's impossible to get past these 6 guys, because as soon as I attack one guy, the other guy turns around. And in this thing, one guy, getting one guy, and as soon as the other guy turns around, one of their buddies crawls into a window and just like stabs him through the throat. And I'm like, that's amazing. I love that.
Right.
So,
I wish I could be as enthusiastic about it as you are.
but I also like the fact that it's going to take place during the French Revolution. It's a whole new setting for the franchise, and I think that's what it needs after the last 2, the Black Sails and Assassin's Creed 3. I enjoy that they took place over in colonial America, and it was fun, but staying in one place too long becomes stagnant, and I think the French Revolution is a very natural place to go with it.
True. I agree, and the fact that they kind of do have that co-op multiplayer now does make it feel a little better. Different assassins that can help you out with your, where you're stuck at. That is kind of cool, and the fact that they have so many NPCs on the screen at once, I do think that's cool.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be fun. I'm not a multiplayer person per se. I mean, I do it from time to time, but if I had Assassin's Creed Unity, I think I'd be more inclined to play multiplayer.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm more apt to play like co-op than I am like competitive multiplayer. I just have a hard time getting into competitive multiplayer. Like I played the hell out of Titanfall, but all of a sudden, like I was playing, and all of a sudden I just stopped. I don't know why I did, but I just stopped, and I always find myself going, I don't want to go back and play that. I don't want to play against other people.
Right. Yeah, I know that goes exactly. There's many games I have where I have all the achievements except for all the online ones.
And sometimes it's like, okay, I've got those achievements to go get, and there's your motivation, but it's still just not enough motivation.
It really isn't. Even though I've gone through and I've played the game on every single difficulty level and got every single key and code and whatever, I'm not going back and getting those 400 points just so I can have 100% on my game. It's just not going to happen.
Right. That's the same here. I don't know. It's just, there's just sometimes, like, I don't know, to me, the games are not as fun with other people because I don't want to hear a 10-year-old screaming in my ear about what he did to my mom the night before because I killed him.
Right.
I'm like, I'm sorry, kid. Your balls haven't dropped yet, Don't go screaming in my ear about what you've done to my mom. Assassin's Creed Unity, I don't know. To me, the series hit a high point with Black Flag. I love the fact that it was assassin, pirate. That was epic. The only way that could be more epic if it was a ninja pirate. So, I mean, being able to go out and do the naval battles and so on really gave the game a freshness that it really needed. And for me, going back to land, and it just made it, to me, it doesn't excite me as much. Now it could be totally different when the game comes out and I see it, but right now it feels kind of like a step backwards for me. So I'm hoping that the game will be a little bit better. Like it'll change a person like me, change my mind. But right now, the way I see it, it's a step backwards.
Well, I guess that's where we have to agree to disagree, my friend.
I'm an optimist. Don't get me wrong. I hope the game really brings its best face forward. I really do, because I love the Assassin's Creed series.
As do I. I own them all.
So there you go. So um, I
Now
don't
do
know.
you?
Okay, my turn. This list was hard to compile. Like, it's really hard for me to put places. So kind of all these games were kind of in the same range for me. But if I was to try to put them in a list, number 6. And I don't think you're a fan of fighting games or anything, but Mortal Kombat X.
Yes, I didn't put that on my list. I should have.
Mortal Kombat X, like Ed Boon, the creator of Mortal Kombat, had been tweeting for the longest time, counting down, using riddles and so on, and we all knew it was coming. Didn't think it was a new Injustice game, but Mortal Kombat X, I have loved the Mortal Kombat series since the first Mortal Kombat, and this one just looks freaking awesome.
It does. Those fatalities they showed during E3? My God.
They showed like 5 or 6 different fatalities. You've got Sub-Zero tearing, like, blasting, doing an ice bolt in Scorpion's chest, where it just exposes his spine, and that's it. He goes in, twists his spine, and rips it out of his chest. Um,
Yep.
One of the lamest fatalities I saw was Cassie Cage, which is Johnny Cage's and Sonya Blade's daughter. She shoots the kneecaps of the victim, and then shoots the character in the head, takes her bubble gum, puts it on the hole in their head, and it blows up a blood bubble and pops. I was not impressed with that one.
Not impressive, but it's still pretty funny.
It's funny, it's creative, but compared to all the other fatalities, like especially the bee lady, I don't remember her name, like Devora or something like that.
Yeah.
Her fatality is freaking wicked. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I don't remember that one from E3.
She shoots a couple of streams of bees through the victim's chest. They come back up around and start just eating away at the flesh of their head until nothing's left but a bloody skull. Falls to the ground, and then she just like puts her foot on the skull. The great thing is that, like, one thing that stood out for me was the sound of the game. Like, when the skull hits the ground, it's hollow. The sound, you can tell it's hollow. Um, it it just wowed me. And the fact that you can play different fighting styles for each character. There's like 3 different fighting styles for each character, and they're saying that really changes it up. So, impressive, just really impressive.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a fun game to play, and I really can't wait to play it. I did enjoy the last Mortal Kombat game. It was pretty good.
Yeah, they really stepped up with that. The story was actually really good in it too.
Yeah, it was very fun.
So that's definitely my number 6. I think it should be higher up on my list, but then again, I really have some great games on my list. So, how about your number 5?
My number 5. Okay, that one was a little bit hard for me to put on the list. But I believe I have for number 5.
Let's see if any of ours match here.
Probably not. Okay, my number 5 was one that Microsoft showed off that I didn't think I was going to like. Sunset Overdrive.
Really?
Yeah, it's unique enough to where I want to play it, but I don't think it's going to be a big seller. It's not going to be one of those games that's going to do anything for the system. But
Right.
it reminds me of like a Tony Hawk meets Lollipop Chainsaw.
You know, I was thinking Lollipop Chainsaw as well when I saw some of the gameplay on it. Like, it's over the top, but I think you're right. I don't think it's going to do much for the system itself. I don't think it's going to be one of those standout like, well, this is defining Microsoft right here. Um,
Yeah, it's not going to move Xbox One units. It's just not going to happen.
yeah, it looks like a fun enough title, but I think it's going to be one of those that looks really good before it comes out. Like they're really hyping it up, and I think it's going to like once it hits shelves, people's going to be like a little disappointed.
Yeah, it's one of those things you're going to see on a discount shelf over at GameStop pretty quick.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a bad game, but I
No,
mean,
I mean, there's a lot of games that you find on discount shelves at GameStop that they're just amazing, but there's not going to be top sellers for the system, and there's not going to be that game changer that Microsoft's looking for.
yeah.
But you can tell in that presentation they were trying to make it to be that way too.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I gotta hand it to them for bringing out a product like that. I like that they're thinking out of the box a little bit. It's still a shooter, but you've got those parkour elements that is really gonna make it neat. It's kind of vibrant. It's bright. It's charming. It's got life.
Yes, sir, it does. So, time will only tell on that one, but I think it's going to be pretty fun to play.
I gotta admit, I would like to try it out. Like that would be a reason to try an Xbox at least.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not going to run out and buy one, but if one of my friends who has an Xbox One happens to have a copy of that game laying around, I'll pick it up and play for a couple hours.
Right, right. Unfortunately, I mean not unfortunately, it wasn't on my list. It wasn't even near on my list, but it's definitely one of those standout games that I mean, it could be good, it could be bad. Right now, it's too early to tell.
Yeah, yeah, time will only tell on these titles.
So, my number five, and when it comes out, will probably be one of like my top games. Um, Evolve. Did you happen to see that at all?
Yeah, just checking my list. I know I wrote it down. Oh
Really?
yeah, I have it here on my list. It's listed as not impressive.
Wow. Um,
It
it,
didn't it didn't hold my attention enough to where I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, okay.
if you haven't looked into it much, you might want to. It's by some of the makers of Left 4 Dead. Um, I don't know if it's going to have a single player campaign or what, but the multiplayer, you have four monster hunters, four trappers going after one monster. And so far, I've seen the monster kind of looks like a big old Kraken, Cthulhu type creature. The creature can lay traps down for the trappers and so on. Trappers can set traps for that monster. They actually have to track the creature, which is actually controlled by another player, mind you. So it's four against one. It's
Yep.
kind of like that whole Terminator thing we were talking about earlier. And once that monster comes out, the monster's trying to basically eat the trappers. You can just totally dominate the team, or the team can dominate you. You can constrain the monster within a certain like dome area if you play it right. It just like uh, impressed me. Like I watched IGN. I really watched during E3, and some of their editors played the game, and I watched the video 3 or 4 times, and it just looks like a total blast. Each trapper has their own certain kind of class and abilities, and I don't know. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. Like it's one of those games where it's like I'm gonna play one more round, and 4 hours later you're like, oh, I've just played 10 rounds. I didn't mean to.
Yeah. I don't know. From what they showed at E3 and what they showed on IGN.com, what I saw of it, it just didn't look like anything that I would, one, actively pursue to purchase, or two, even want to pick up and try. If one of my friends was like, hey, dude, you gotta try this game, I'd probably just tell him, nah, I don't think so, dude.
Well, I hope they do come out with a demo for it. Like I would definitely take a couple of looks at it, like by itself. Look at some of the stuff they've done with the game. Um, I don't know if you're a fan of Left 4 Dead or not, but
Yes, I am. I actually own both of them.
gotcha. All right, so you know how fun Left 4 Dead is. If they can inject some of the fun from Left 4 Dead into this game, I think it's going to be phenomenal. And from every website I've read that's gotten their hands on it and has had the chance to play it, it's going to be one to look out for. So
I don't know, sir. It doesn't look like it's gonna hold my attention. It might be the greatest game ever. It really could. But from what I saw, I just was not 100% convinced that I'm gonna be throwing down $60 on it.
right. And you know, it's definitely one of those where it's probably gonna be like, all right, I have enough of my friends playing on this game. I have enough people telling me that this game is good. I get the feeling then you'll be like, okay, I need to try this out.
If I can either A, pick it up on the cheap, or B, rent it somewhere, if there's anywhere in this godforsaken town I live in that has a place to rent video games, then, I will pick it up and check it out. But till then, it's in the back burner right there.
Oh, I'll be letting you know. That's for sure. I'm really excited for it. So I know it's going to be one of those that I'm pretty sure that I can easily plop down money on and be happy with. You know how you get that feeling with certain games? It's just like it's your play style. This is your game. You know. That's how
Right.
I feel with Evolve.
Well, then I hope that it comes out. I hope that when it does come out, that you are 125% happy with it, and it is awesome, and you tell me about it, and I pick it up, and we play it online, and we become online BFFs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We will. You'll see.
You will convert me.
That might be the same thing with Assassin's Creed Unity as well.
Yeah, I won't buy that day one, but I will probably buy it within the first 30 days, and I'll definitely let you know.
There you go. All right. So it's kind of the same thing, back and forth there.
All
All right.
right,
All right. So you're number 4.
my number four. I'm having to flip between like 4 or 5 pages of notes. I jotted down every single thing that every single E3 presenter was showing.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it's basically a bunch of game names and a really short, quick little information about each game. Okay, my number four, I believe it's a Xbox One exclusive, but it looked very interesting to me because I'm a fan of games like Roller Coaster Tycoon or the Sims games where you create the world that you play in.
Right.
And when I saw this game, I was like, wow, that's very imaginative. It's called Project Spark.
Oh yes. That was one I was going to mention on this episode. Actually, it's not in my top 6, but it looks interesting.
And they didn't show a whole lot of actual gameplay footage or go into too much depth as to what exactly the game entails. But it looks almost like you can create levels and then challenge your friends to go through that level and try to beat it.
Right. It almost looks like a straight up game creator.
Yeah.
Like
But
do anything.
it looks like you can pretty much, decide what terrain throw in, whatever you want to throw in there. And I believe that's the same one that you can. Oh no, never mind. I was thinking of another game where you can actually like have multiple players at one time, and one person controls a horde, and you can decide where you put the hordes and the creatures and the demons.
Huh? What game was that?
That's my number two, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit.
Oh, okay, okay, I gotcha. So we'll hear about that. Sounds good to me. Um, Project
But
Spark. It reminds me. To me, it's almost like Microsoft's version of Little Big Planet. Like Little Big Planet got to the point where the level creation was so robust and so fine-tuned, you could develop anything. I remember getting Little Big Planet 2, and one of the levels, one of the games that somebody had developed was the first dungeon from the original Legend of Zelda.
yeah.
Down to the music, like I was blown away. But whenever I went to go create a level, forget it. I couldn't even make a level. Like the only level I've ever made in Little Big Planet was the level I used to propose to my wife, and that was still really bad. So it just straight up said, "Courtney, will you marry me?" in the background, and that was it. And then at the end of it, I made sure the little sound played where people went, "Oh," in the background, and that was it. That's like all I could do, and even that was a struggle.
That's
So it looks like Little Big Planet on a higher scale. I'm curious about that. Like, I don't know. That could be something that, to me, could be an Xbox seller. If it's really really robust and you can pretty much do anything with it, I would even consider buying an Xbox for Project Spark.
my only fear about this game is they make it like I don't know if you remember this game from the original PlayStation. Fighter Maker.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Well, Fighter Maker was a game they promised quotation marks. Yeah, you can't see it right now. But quotation marks are going up right now. Um,
Gotcha.
they promised that you could create every aspect of your fighter, stances, moves, everything. But when you got into start making these things, it was impossible to make it do anything you wanted to do. And you get one thing started and it looked really good, and all of a sudden you cut to like your kick, like a low kick, and it looked like his knees are on backwards and his legs are flailing like he's it is crazy. And so it was a huge letdown. But as long as they can stay
Okay.
away, if they can stay away from that cursed type of game and make it towards a little bit easier to handle, like the roller coaster tycoon type games, or like the Sims were, and it's predefined how far or what you can do, but you can still pretty much do anything you want. Then it could be fun. Now
Right.
another thing that really caught my attention during that trailer during E3 was I'll just say one word: conquer.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that was the big draw for everybody.
Yeah, I saw that and I got all giggly. I was like,
Well, yeah, we haven't seen Conquer in what, 10 years?
yeah.
So, um, Project Spark, real quick. It, like I said, and you're right. I remember Fighter Maker. I thought you said Fire Maker. I was like, what? What's Fire Maker? No, I never heard of that. But Fighter Maker,
Yeah.
yes. A friend of
So
mine showed me that, and you're right. It god awful. I highly don't recommend it to anybody if they're looking for it. Just uh, yeah, bad.
yeah.
Um, Project Spark looks cool, and Conquer definitely spiked my curiosity. I don't know, it feels kind of like a grab a little bit, like they put Conquer in there. He comes in at the end and chainsawed the Project Spark logo like he did with the Nintendo 64 logo at the beginning, Conker's Bad Fur Day on the Nintendo 64. And that was kind of a nice little throwback. And then he's obviously saying it took him 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm curious what they're doing with Conker there. But I don't know. Like, in a way, they just need to make a new Conker game instead of like putting them in a little game creator.
Yeah, definitely. And if they do another Conquer game, they need to make it more like the N64 version and less like the Xbox version.
Right, right.
Because
Definitely.
surprisingly, Xbox version was censored.
Yeah, that was a crying shame.
It reminds me of I don't know if you remember this game back in the GameCube slash Xbox days, but it's called a game called BMX Triple X.
Oh God.
That was a horrible game anyway, but the GameCube version, you got to see the nudity, and the Xbox version you didn't.
Yeah, it's same with the PS2. GameCube was completely pretty much uncensored. PS2, Xbox completely censored. Now
Which
don't get. Oh, go ahead.
I never understood why that was because Nintendo, they're all about the kids, and,
Yeah.
and Xbox and PlayStation are more, teen and up gamers.
Right.
It just threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they still kept some stuff on the PS2. Like, one thing that stands out for me was a peanut vendor that said, come and get your hot, salty nutsack. I remember that and chuckling and laughing at that. But, I mean, you got it in a strip club and it was all censored and it was just like, okay, what the heck. I still have the case to that game somewhere here. I don't know what happened to the game, but I actually have that game. I was just like, why? I think I think it was the music in the game. Like, it had some good music.
it,
So,
there's some games out there that have really good music, and the games just suck ass.
oh, I agree. Watch Dogs. It's a good game. Music sucks ass in it. I don't like any of the music in that game.
Now, I agree with you about 98% of the time that I was in the game playing, and lo and behold, to my surprise, Screeching Weasel came up, and I was like, "Oh my God, Screeching Weasel! That is awesome!" But that's because they're a Chicago-based punk rock band, so for them to be in the game is almost natural. But I just didn't expect to hear it. I was really surprised.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Not my thing, but hey, I mean, maybe somebody loves the entire set list on the game. It's just personal opinion, straight up. So
Yeah.
perhaps, the entire set list is just amazing to one person, but like to me, like there was no standout music. I don't know who the Screeching Weasels are, so yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front on that.
If you only listen to one Screeching Weasel album, I highly recommend the 6-song EP. It's called Major Label Debut, and you can find it just about anywhere really cheap.
Or just get on Spotify.
Or
Yes.
you can just Spotify, man.
I will do that. I will do that. Matter of fact, I'll write that down right here, and I'll if I get the chance tonight, tomorrow, I'll listen. I promise.
Please do. It's like Ramones-inspired punk rock. If you like the Ramones, I love the Ramones.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the Ramones. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely give that a listen.
Yeah,
So
they're very much in the vein of the Ramones, and very poppy, very punky, very catchy.
okay, all right. So number
Your
4
number
on me. I'm gonna change this up a little bit because like I had a number 3 and a number 4 here, but I'm gonna change them because I feel I'm not as excited for this game as I am number 3. So my number 4 is No Man's Sky. Did you see that at all?
No, I did not. Which one's that one?
That is it's an open world. I believe they're saying it's an MMO by Hello Games where it's like the trailer they showed. They actually debuted this at Spike's miserable VGA Video Game Awards thing last year. Um, what it showed was their character was underwater, comes swimming up out of the water, and this was all gameplay, mind you. Comes up, looks around, you see some tropical terrain, you see a spaceship off in the distance, the character runs up to it, gets in, flies out of orbit into space, starts warping around, able to shoot through asteroids and things like that. You're able to go to different planets, land on them. Everything's open world, open universe. So you can go from planet to planet to planet. You can have fleets warp in on you just randomly, start attacking you. And it's so massive, and Hello Games is a small team. Like, for them to make this huge open universe is mind-boggling. Um, they actually, I don't know if you heard about it, but they actually, a few months ago, had a really devastating flood happen, and it flooded out their entire office.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I heard that like pretty much their life was in that office and they got like the insurance wasn't covering it or anything like that. And they're still coming out strong with this game. It's like it is on a lot of people's radar.
No, I've actually heard nothing about this game before.
Yeah, check it out. It's called No Man's Sky. Like just what they've shown in the small trailer looks really neat. The fact you can fly through space and you're warping through space, doing dogfights and everything, but you can still land. Like don't show much of the on land stuff more than they do actually out in space. But the fact that it's open world, massive multiplayer, it's like if they pull this off, it's gonna be huge. It is gonna be massive. They're gonna be rich after this game comes out.
Well, I'll have to
So
definitely go ahead and take a look and see what this game's about.
definitely, definitely check it out. Like after the show, just it's your jaw might hit the floor, it might not. I know mine did. So anyway, since you don't know much about the game, how about your number three?
Okay. My number three is the Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha.
And the award for the most outrageous title goes to.
Exactly. I heard nothing about this. It's not a new game. It's just an add-on to the Dead Rising 3 for the Xbox One. But it looks like a straight up like Street Fighter 2 tournament ripoff. Is all I can really say about it. It's got all the cliches of the '90s Street Fighter games, where every other week there's a new Street Fighter 2 game coming out. The remix, Ultra Remix, Tournament Fighter 2. Uh, Basically, that's what it is. It's a new DLC for the Xbox One. It's got beat 'em up levels where you can beat up cars and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it plays and looks just like the old Street Fighter back in the
Wow.
90s. Yeah, and
That's
it's actually available now. You can go and download it now for the Xbox One.
Huh. So it's actually like a fighting game.
Yeah, it's got the characters from the Dead Rising. I'm sorry, not Dead Rising. Yeah, Dead Rising series from 1 to 3. Plus, it's got a lot of the old Capcom standards like Ken, Ryu, uh, Bison. I mean, all those people.
Nice. See, I that's one I didn't look into. I saw like I don't know, there was a video where it was just like Dead Rising 3, blah blah blah, and it named off the whole thing, but I didn't see any gameplay on it. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was going to be DLC, but other than that, I didn't know. For them to go back and kind of poke fun at themselves.
Oh yeah,
That's
and it is a total stick poker, and it's great how they did it because they could have done it really cheesy, but they kind of did it with enough cheese to where it'll hold the attention, but also with enough respect of what they've done in the past to where it's going to be cool.
right, right. I'm actually going to look that up after the show. Like I want to see what some of this is about because it sounds absolutely charming.
It really is. It sounds like, I mean, basically, as all of you listeners out there and you yourself know, back in the '90s, I mean, you couldn't throw a stick at a Street Fighter. You couldn't throw a stick without hitting a Street Fighter 2 game. And
Right.
you had everything. Now Street Fighter 2, Ultra Remix, Remix Ultra Tournament. It just is crazy. I mean, you couldn't buy one without another one coming out. And so
Yeah.
this kind of just takes all that, puts it all together, and just says, look, we're lampooning ourselves. We know we're kind of crazy when it comes to our Street Fighter series, but here's a new twist on it.
Right. You're right about that. Like turbo, hyper turbo, ultra, just one after the other.
That's
And
yeah, that's why I stopped buying the Street Fighter games because it's like I can't keep up.
I got to the point where I was like, what is the difference on any of these? Like, what, you can go just a little faster? Your characters move a little faster? What, here and there they'd add some tweaks, and I think that's what it was really, is just like fighting tweaks in the game, like different balancing and so on. Like they fix now with for just updates and so on. I think that was their way of updating their game.
Yeah, I guess back in the 90s, that's the only way you can really do it.
People were like, "Oh, it's the new Street Fighter 2." Yeah, okay. What's the big deal?
It's Ultra Turbo, that's what's the big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Ultra Turbo Hyper Tournament XL AO Double Dragon 4.
I love how creative they got with the name of that. I absolutely love that. I admire their creativity.
I'll read it again because it's so much fun to read. I'm going to get back to that page real quick. Oh my gosh. Pages don't stick together.
Ew.
Not that way. Wasn't that good of an E3. Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha.
Take a breath after that one.
Turbo. Hyper Turbo. Turbo. And now a smoker.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, need to take about 3 breaths in between there. You good. Good. Okay, my number 3. This one, hands down. These 3, like my top 3 are going to be like super hard to just put in numbers here, but I'm going to say this is my number 3 because it's one of my favorite series of all time. And this one's going to be kind of you get to see Anakin turn into Darth Vader type things. And this is straight up Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain.
Ah, okay.
It just like, I know this is going to be Big Boss finally snapping. Like, did you happen to see the trailer for it?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, the visuals in that trailer, like, there's so much to analyze in that. Just the fact that you see Big Boss covered in blood at one point with what looks like shrapnel or whatever sticking out of his head like they're horns or something. Just some of the stuff, like, there's so much there. I wish I could go into straight up detail in it, but like, I think that Ground Zeroes was a good follow-up to Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain is going to be phenomenal, and it's going to be one of those must-owns on any console.
Now, is it going to be an exclusive to Sony, or is it going to be on all platforms, do you think?
It's going to be more than likely on all platforms. I believe it is, because that's what they did with Ground Zeroes. It came out on Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. So I think we'll see it on all of them. Maybe. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put it on like the Xbox 360 and the PS3, simply because it's getting these days where like the Xbox 360 needs like 4 discs to install on any given game these days.
Yeah.
What's the game that is 4 discs that just came out? Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein has 4 discs for the Xbox 360.
Well, that's how it was for how was that game? I can't think of it now. It was one of the games that when it came out I was so enthusiastic about getting, and L.A. Noire.
Right.
L.A. Noire is 4 discs and there's no multiplayer.
I didn't realize that was 4 discs.
Yes, sir. Lady GameStop's like, are you sure you want to get on 360? Because on PS3 it's only 1 disc. I'm like, how many discs is a 360? She said 4. I'm like, 4 discs? That's a lot of discs.
It's like, dang, this is going to be a long-ass game. And then you find out it's like 10 hours.
Yeah. It's like, wow. Wow, I should have gone PS3, but at the time I didn't have a PS3, so
Right. It's kind of like, oh, it's 50 gigs of audio. It's kind of like Titanfall, where it's like Titanfall's a 50 gig install on the PC, but most of it, from what I've gathered, is all mostly audio. Like, what are they thinking? 50 gigs? Really?
that's
So,
pretty good.
yeah. So, but these games are massive. Like the Metal Gear games are always massive to begin with, and I fear for the Xbox 360 when Phantom Pain comes out, if it is on the 360.
Right. Well, more than likely it probably won't be because the 360 and the PS3 are getting less and less games. If you notice, like the new Batman game, that
Right.
is it's not coming out on the PS3 or the 360.
Right. Yeah. Bigger world means just straight up. Uh, what am I trying to say? I'm tired. Bigger world means just more data, more info. The game is trying to look better, and I mean the old systems have to phase out at some point. And I mean, uh, the new Batman isn't supposed to come out till next year, right?
That's the word.
Okay, so I mean, by that point, that's the same thing with the Phantom Pain. It isn't supposed to come out till next year. So we'll definitely see a decrease in PS3 titles as well as 360.
I know. We were promised 5 years though.
I don't believe that.
I know. I'm hopeful.
It's like I don't want to buy a new console already. Damn it.
I don't. I've been holding on to this 360 since 2005. I'm not looking for a new system yet.
Well, I almost can't believe that the Xbox and the PS4 are already almost a year old. Wii U's already almost 2 years old. So, I mean, you get enough money to finally get a new console, and it's like time for a new console to come out.
I know.
Crap.
The
But
way it
anyway,
looks.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, Phantom Pain just looks amazing. I'm a huge fan of the Metal Gear series, and to see Big Boss like this good soldier finally snap and turn bad. We know he's turning bad. I mean, that's how. I mean, Metal Gear Solid started out. The first original Metal Gear game on the MSX is him going against Big Boss and so on. Solid Snake going against Big Boss and so on. So we know he's going to go bad. We know he's going to turn evil. I mean, what is evil really? But he's gonna basically be the quote unquote bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, that's my number 3.
It's a good pick.
Love it.
All right. My number two, well, actually, my number two or number one, should be no surprise to you, my friend. Uh, knowing just knowing how passionately I spoke of both these games, not just tonight, but I mean in the past in general.
Hmm.
And as I mentioned earlier, when I was talking about Project Spark, I accidentally let a little nugget of information come out about my number two. And my number two is Fable Legends.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of the Fable series. Even though the last few games have sucked really bad, it's just something about that first game that latched on to my soul, my heart, and I just can't let it go. Like that
Right.
ex-girlfriend. It's like the ex-girlfriend you have. You know she's no good for you, and you know you shouldn't call her late at night, but you know what? You do it anyway.
But from what I gather, I mean, you've pretty much liked all the Fable games.
I do to a point, but I mean, it's been a slow, descend into crap lately. Fable 1, excellent. Fable Anniversary, awesome. Fable 2, pretty good. Fable 3, not that great. I'd never played Journey, but from my understanding, it's not even worth looking at. So, but
I've heard the same thing.
this one actually looks pretty good. It is an Xbox One exclusive, which makes me, my heart hurt. but I always knew it was going to be an Xbox exclusive because all Fable games are.
Yeah.
It's going to be a co-op game. You play with up to 4 people, and you do adventures, go on journeys, and whatnot. But the cool thing about this one is one person in the group gets to play as the villain, and as the villain, you get to set up where the bad guys go, where they're going to be laying in wait for your heroes. You get to tell them what kind of attacks they do. Get to say how many of each creature is going to be at each location and how intense the battle is going to be. So it makes it a little bit more difficult than your usual fighting type game.
Right.
So it looks like it's gonna be kind of fun. And the way they showed how you lay the troops down, it's kind of like when you're playing Command and Conquer, kind of, where you can set them down in groups. You can scale up the group, you can scale down the group. Um, it looks pretty neat. I mean, I think it looks like it might be a nice little fresh breath into the series. I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep the series afloat, but
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see, though.
Right. That's another one I didn't really get the chance to look at. And I think that's because of my real kind of lack of interest in Fable. I did enjoy the first one, and after that I played the second one, and the second one, I don't know what happened, but to me, like, there was just a stopping point for me where it felt like it got stale, and like I just was like no longer interested. So when Fable 3 came out, it was just like, nah, don't want to play it. It just did not look interesting to me, and that's why I think that like the newest Fables, like, I mean, I've read so much, and a lot of people just like, Fable Journeys, and I was just like, nah, that doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Yeah, well, it's not for everyone. That's for sure. That's to say for sure. But like I said, just the fact that someone gets to be the villain and gets to place where the enemies go, that looks
Right.
very interesting to me. And I
Yeah.
guess and I guess with each of the heroes, they have different classes. Where there's like the fighter and there's the brawler and that kind of thing. So they each bring their own special skill set to the table.
Wow. See, no, I will admit I like that. Being able to set up as like a villain and so on, that always kind of piques my interest. I might actually take a look at it because, like I said, I just love stuff like that.
Plus, being the villain just feels so damn good.
Oh yeah. Well, like oh, what game was it? There was a game that was gonna come out on the Vita that was originally, like, before the Vita came out, they were really working on this game, and it was a dungeon crawler, kind of like Diablo, called Ruin. And the great thing about it was the fact that you could raid somebody else's like stronghold. If they, like, your friends on your friend list, you could just straight up go in their game and start tearing down their stronghold and so on, and be the bad guy. That's neat. The fact that like Demon Souls, or was it Dark Souls? I don't remember, but you could actually go and be a phantom in somebody else's single player game and completely wreak havoc on them. Just come in and gank them if you were more powerful than them. It's neat. I love that stuff.
Right.
Playing the bad guy is so much fun.
It is because in real life you're not going to go out and rob a bank, but in a game you sure hell can.
Right, right. So being evil can be so good sometimes.
Yeah, it keeps us on the straight and narrow sometimes.
Right. So, my number two, I was really happy they showed this at E3, although I don't know how kind of realistic their demo was. I'm gonna just straight up say Rainbow Six Siege.
Uh,
Like, I am a huge Rainbow Six fan. Like, you have no idea. Like, I still go on. I own Rainbow Six Vegas 2 on both the Xbox and 360. I still go and do terrorist hunts. I still play it online. I absolutely love it. Um, and like Rainbow Six, they had Rainbow Six Patriots that was supposed to come out, and they scrapped it completely. Um, so they showed it at like the E3 2011, and after that there was like nothing. So as it turns out, they scrapped it, and then they brought Siege out. Like this was a kind of a surprise at E3. Did you happen to see their multiplayer playthrough of that?
Yeah, I did actually.
What do you think of it?
I'm not a fan of any of the Rainbow Six ever, so it didn't even interest me.
Oh man, men of two different tastes, I swear.
I know. We're such good friends.
I know. It's like none of our lists match here. Um, here's the deal. Like it looks like a good game. The way they have it set up, for any of the listeners, the way they had it set up was there was a team of pretty much a SWAT team going to breach into a house. The house had a team of terrorists that had a hostage. The terrorists get the chance to set up barricades in the windows and everything like that, and pretty much kind of just get ready for the onslaught. That's when the SEAL team goes in, and they like in the demo, in the multiplayer demo, they were like hardcore working together. You know, I got this enemy in here. I'm using this camera to look in here. You know, you go this way, I'll go this way, I'll go this way. Now, while that's all good on paper, how many people really like go into a quick match and gets a team that precise, that strategic? Like, never.
No. Quick
You
matches
will,
never like that.
you will never get a team like that. And it's like, it's frustrating because I saw this demo and I'm like, that would be nice. I mean, I don't think I have that many friends. You know, it's like a 5-on-5 team, but I don't think I have that many friends playing it all at once. And so I'm going to be matched up against these 10 years old talking about what they're going to do to my mom again. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, like it's not realistic. Like I love Rainbow Six, but at the same time I'm so frustrated that the demo looks like this, but it's still my number 2 pick.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can't help what your heart feels.
I'm I'm hoping that it like I will see some little bit more realistic gameplay. Like, don't get me wrong, the stuff they showed, like the hostage talking to the camera as it rolled in at her and so on to give some info, was really neat. The fact you could shoot through walls and make holes in walls, or breach through a second story to come down, crashing down on the enemies, that looked phenomenal. But the fact that you're never going to find a team that precise unless you've got some really coordinated friends, that worries me.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's all I'm going to say on that. What they showed, the tech looks phenomenal. It could be a really good game. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yep.
So, okay, your number 1 top pick at E3. I already get the feeling I know what it is, but I want to hear it.
Okay. My number 1 pick for the E3 2014 is Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a game I already knew was coming out. I didn't need E3 to tell me. I actually already got the game on pre-order. That's how ahead of the game I am on this one. But
right.
I'm a huge Borderlands fan. Been a huge Borderlands fan since the first one came out, and I was stuck in bed after surgery and I had nothing to do. And I played the game until I beat it, and then I played it again immediately after. As soon as the campaign ended, as soon as I was done, I turned around and played as another character.
Holy crap! That's right. I remember you telling me about that. Jeez. Now, I real quick, I'm not gonna lie. I totally did not think about Borderlands like being your number one pick. Like I wasn't even thinking Borderlands. I do not know why.
That's crazy. I know you know how much I love the Borderlands series.
But I do know you like another series that they were talking about at E3 this year.
What's that? What's that? Tell me, what's that?
That'd be the Batman series.
That is the
Oh
Batman series, and
man.
after I already compiled my list and already started ranting and talking about my top six, I realized I had forgotten Batman.
I was waiting for it. I was really surprised that was not on your list.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, if I were to redo my list right now, it would be number four.
What was your
And
number four again?
my number four was Project Spark, which
Spark. Gotcha.
so it wouldn't take place of Spark. It just bumped four to five, five to six. So Assassin's Creed would be out of there.
Nice. Um, I will admit, real quick, I know we're changing gears here a little bit to Batman, but so far, I'm. This is another one that's like looks like more of the same, but at the same time, it doesn't. Like, I love the Batman series. A little disappointed so far with Origins, um, but like the Batman games, the Arkham games have been great.
Yeah,
Um, the fact that they have the Batmobile now is really cool. But the gameplay I've seen with the Batmobile, I'm hoping there's more to it than what I have seen in the trailers.
it's
Like,
gotta be because I've been reading where they're saying that the Batmobile is pretty much your number one tool in the game.
see, that worries me at the same time because I don't want to rely too much on the Batmobile. Like, Batman needs to work without the Batmobile,
But the
but at the
Batmobile's got cup holders and it's got vibrating
right,
heated seats. It's got a cocoa dispenser. You know it does, and you know he's got Sirius XM all the channels.
right, and I heard it had Bluetooth, so um,
Don't
you can
touch
make sure.
that.
Right. So I mean, yeah, all those makes it sound pretty appealing. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, yeah. Batman still looks good. The fact that also Kevin Conroy's voicing Batman again brings joy to my heart.
Yeah,
So
I was, I'm just glad that Rocksteady is back to do the game because, like you said, Origins is not that great. I mean, it's a good effort by Splash Damage, but it's Rocksteady. They started it. They did a great job on it the first two games, and it should have never gone to another company.
right. I will never understand the logic in that. Perhaps it was just the Rocksteady needed a break. I don't know,
Oh, I
but
I think Warner Brothers owns Splash Damage, where they don't own Rocksteady.
now that I think about it, I think there was some sort of dispute going on at the time. I'm gonna have to look into that because I think that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, basically Warner Brothers wanted to keep the game production in house, and so instead of going back to Rocksteady, who created the formula, they went to another company to do it, and it just it didn't work. I mean,
Right.
Origins is a good game, but it should have come out probably first, as the name implies.
And it should have been more of an actual origin story. Like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like Batman was already kind of established a little bit. Like, I would have loved to have been playing as like Batman on his first missions. That would have been badass.
Well, this is supposed to be like Batman in his first, like first
It,
year or two.
yeah, it's like a year after he became Batman. But I mean, like, okay, if this was like Batman Begins, then I freaking wanted to play in the temple. Like, I wanted to be training. I wanted to do that first, where he wasn't even wearing the bat suit. He was wearing a ski mask. Like, I would love to play Batman as that. And then, like, as the game progressed, he became Batman.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, but I don't know how much fun that'd be though. I mean, when you buy a Batman game, you want Batman. You don't want, Bruce Wayne light.
Well, okay, even maybe it's the early missions of the game, but I mean, I would like to see a little bit of that transition because I mean that to me would be like getting his gadgets as you progress. It's his like his skill set in the Batman games. You're getting the new skills to do this and that, and as it becomes, he slowly gets to where he becomes the Batman. I would love that.
Yeah, it would be fun to see that kind of stuff. The thing
Yeah.
that kind of got me the most is the Origins game is supposed to take place before Arkham Asylum, but he's got like the coolest weapon of the whole entire series, the shock gloves. He's got them in the Origins game, but they're nowhere to be seen in any other games. So it's kind of like it's cool that it's in there, but it's kind of a letdown. It's like, well, why doesn't he have them now?
Yeah, he didn't need them.
I need the shock gloves.
Fla- Vladimir. No, but all right. I know that we got off topic on the number one game there. Borderlands. Like I didn't finish Borderlands 2. I think we've talked about that before. But
And I've been very upset about that still.
yeah, well, you see, now that I have a new computer and everything, I can actually go back and play the second one. Like, I don't own it on the Xbox and I don't own it on the PS3, but I have it on the PC. And I just like my laptop just played it on the lower settings and it just didn't look that good and I can now play it and beat it. So
Yay!
I want to.
You need to. There's so much content for that game that's insane.
Yeah, I still do want to play through to Tiny Tina's
Yeah, it's the
or
best.
whatever.
That's the best DLC ever.
And I've never played it, but yet I know this. I straight up know this.
I've said this once and I said it a million times. Tiny Tina is the best character in the Borderlands universe.
Right.
She needs her own game. That's how much I feel about this.
She deserves it.
She needs it.
But like I know about the new Borderlands coming out, and what's the actual title of it? The
It's called the pre-sequel.
the pre-sequel. Gotcha.
Yep. It
I know
takes
it's
it takes place before the second one, and it takes place on one of Pandora's moons.
right. Now this is the one where they said now mind y'all the villain in Borderlands 2 was Handsome Jack. Now they said that like Handsome Jack, it kind of shows his descent into like madness or whatever, right?
Right.
Kind of shows
Right.
how he becomes a bad guy. So like the little Borderlands 2 I've played, like Handsome Jack is just freaking hilarious already. Like he ranks up there as funny characters, especially with his butt stallion thing. That made me laugh my ass off. He's chomping into the microphone, eating, talking about how he's calling you a butt stallion. Kind of remind me of Fight Club, Tyler Durden, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this game, is it going to be like, do you think it's going to be a whole lot of the same, or do you think it's going to be like a whole new experience? Or do you think it's going to feel just like DLC?
It well, it's gonna be his whole own experience. It won't be DLC or it shouldn't feel like DLC. It's gonna take place, like I said, before Borderlands 2. So you're not gonna be playing as that Vault Hunter. In fact, actually, you're not even playing as Vault Hunters anymore. It's just gonna be a whole different skill set of people. Um, it's gonna take place on the moon. And apparently there's no oxygen or low oxygen, so you're gonna have to refill your oxygen every so often, like a level in Mario Brothers. Or you're also gonna have jetpacks to get you around, so you can do some extended jumps with the low gravity on the moon. So,
Nice.
so it's gonna be kind of interesting there too.
I gotcha. Dang, there's some games that I really need to kind of look up on. Like, I feel so uninformed now since we've been talking, because it is one I'm interested in. Like, it didn't pique my interest a lot because I haven't played two all the way through yet. So I'm like, I want to beat two first before I see anything on this, even though it's a pre-sequel. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, it takes place before two, so if you were played this one before you finish two, it wouldn't be like cheating because
True.
it's a whole different thing. But in the same thing, it's a sequel, but it's not a sequel because it takes place, so it's a prequel.
It's the whole argument to watch Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3 before 4, 5, and 6 because they're prequels to 4, 5, and 6, which came out first. It's kind of like that in my eyes.
Right, right. I understand that.
So, okay, we've already run like a long time. I'm gonna go ahead and reveal my number one pick.
All right, go for it.
Well, so I swear I'm not trying to push it all, but at the same time, I don't know about you, but I'm tired.
It's 2 o'clock in
we
the morning here.
yeah, we're recording this at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just because the classically retarded gaming gods were gracious enough to give us this time slot.
Yep, yep.
Um, my number one pick, and I mean, once again, this is a very kind of favorite series of mine. It goes along with like the Monster Hunter series is a huge favorite series of mine. Metal Gear Solid, same thing, great series. But for me, this one stood out just simply because they came straight up on stage and like they didn't just be like, here's the new game we're revealing, and then waited and let the tension build up. They came on stage, and the title was plastered all over the place. And that was Little Big Planet 3. Like,
Ah,
for me, that was it right there. It. I don't know if you've played any of the Little Big Planet games or not,
yeah, I
but
have. I played the first one, and I had the one for the PSP also.
and what do you think of the Little Big Planet games?
They're good little time killers, when you have nothing else really to do.
I gotcha. So I mean, it's not the same kind of passion for the game as like I have.
No, I think they're games more aimed toward the younger set of gamers, but adults can pick them up too.
Right. For me, the game bleeds charm. There's so much creativity, and for me, like my imagination has always soared, and this game really to me is like my imagination on a gaming console. Um, the fact that you can take this game and you can create levels. In the first one, that blew me away. Second one came out, it was more of the same, but I mean you could do a little bit more in the level creation and so on. The PlayStation, the Vita version, they brought out, I think it was like called the Saveinator or whatever. You could create whole entire games using Little Big Planet. You could create your own RPGs with it and so on. And that blew my mind. Like, that really sets it apart from being a kiddie game to being something that anybody can play and create something. It can show your creative chops. And with 4, like seeing the new characters, Oddsock and Toggle and Swoop and so on, like I was just like giddy, like I was a little just like a little kid again.
Right. Well, like I said, it's a good gaming series. It's fun to play, and it's killed many hours for me. I've sat down and I play for 2 or 3 hours at a time. But it's one of those games that I can put down and not pick it up for 2 or 3 months and not feel like, oh man, I gotta get back into it again. I can just pick right back up to where I was and not feel like any time's passed.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I'll admit it's been some time since I played a Little Big Planet, but to see this one, Like every time a new Little Big Planet comes out, it makes me want to do the level creator. Like I want to build something with it. And like I never do. And I need to tell myself with this one, like I'm like okay, you know. Actually, I said it was Little Big Planet 4. It's actually Little Big Planet 3. Um, but I'm really excited about it. Like, and I think one of the reasons I'm really excited for it is because this is actually one of the games that my wife actually likes that she'll actually play. So, um, being able to play something with her, I guess maybe that's one of the draws to it for me.
Yeah, it's hard to find a game to play with a girl because a lot of them are like, I want to play Viva Pinata.
That was one of the first games that she bought when her and I got together. So
Told
I'm going to agree totally with that statement. Just straight up agree with that. But like, don't get me wrong. I do wish she would play some first person shooters or something. Like I've tried to get her to play Halo and everything. She just can't grasp the analog sticks. Like it's too much for her.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it is. Like my wife, she had a hard time getting used to the sticks when I was trying to teach her how to play Borderlands. She's like, I can't walk.
Or always looking at the ground or whatever, right? And then like
Always,
walking.
always looking at the ground.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know. Like, if it's one thing that made me think about that was when we were talking about Evolve and IGN's talking about Evolve. The editors that were playing, one of them was Naomi Kyle, and like I was watching her play that, I was like, dang, she's in there playing Evolve. I would dig having my wife play against me like that. I don't know. There's just something about it.
I know the word. It's sexy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird to say, but it is sexy.
Hmm.
So, um, I just got a comment on this stream actually from a user Nukes C. Says, "What about No Man's Sky?" Nuke C, that was actually on my list. That was my number 3. No, that was my number 4 pick. Was No Man's Sky. It looks phenomenal. I'm really excited about it. So if you get the chance, go back and listen to this when it's over, and you'll hear about that. But that was my number 4 pick. So there you go. That's my list. I don't know what you want to add to the
Um,
conversation.
well, there were a lot of good. No, there's a few good games that they showed that I didn't list. We mentioned earlier Witcher 3. Of course, Killer Instinct. Um, I don't know. They're redoing Crackdown. That might be
Mm.
fun.
Crackdown has always been a good one to me. Like I loved the first Crackdown. Second one was ho hum, but
Yeah,
Crackdown, yeah, that I do agree. It didn't make my list, but don't get
no,
me wrong.
yeah, it didn't make my list either. But I mean, it was one of those ones that's coming out next year that looks like it might be fun to play.
Right. I will admit that real quick. I'm going to get this out there. If I don't mention it, I think we'll get a lot of comments asking where it's at. Legend of Skyrim. I mean Legend of Zelda.
Uh,
Um, the new Zelda game they revealed for the Wii U. They showed a little bit of a cinematic trailer, showed what the open world's supposed to look like, and I don't know. To me, it sounded and looked like Skyrim.
yeah, yeah, it looked a lot like a Skyrim type of game where it's just I don't know. You got a character who's been around for almost 30 years now, and where else are you gonna take them?
Right, right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, Zelda in an open world can be completely amazing. It's just they need to show it. Show that. One thing they didn't show was no Metroid. And they also pushed back the date for the Smash Brothers on the 3DS to October.
Yeah.
Um,
And no new Mario.
no, hey, that's not entirely a bad thing.
Right, but this was one of those things that you would expect a new Mario title to come out, and none materialized.
Eh, I think they were pretty confident with Zelda, and then them talking about Star Fox.
Yeah,
So even though it was blurry in the background, you couldn't quite see it. I heard it's very rough right now, and they're saying that you know we don't know when we're going to see it, but there is a new Star Fox in the works. Another one I want to bring out. I don't know if you're a fan of the series or not, but Tomb Raider.
yeah, I did see that. I forgot to mention that. That looks like it might be pretty good.
I'm once again, it's only cinematic, so we don't know. But the last Tomb Raider that came out was such a breath of fresh air for the Tomb
I
Raider games,
I thought that
and
game was amazing as hell.
yeah, I did not expect to get so sucked into that game, but I did. I
I know,
had rented
right?
it. I had rented it, and I had to keep playing. So, um, I know we've talked about Battlefield and Call of Duty. What do you think of Battlefield Hardline?
You know what I said about first-person shooters, sir.
I can honestly tell you that I have actually played Battlefield Hardline.
Oh yeah,
I ended up getting into the beta. I got the invite yesterday, installed it on my computer, and played a little bit of it last night. And while I was excited about the cops and robbers aspect, it still plays like Battlefield. Battlefield 3 and 4. I mean, if this game's in beta, I thought that Battlefield 4 was all. It still feels like that game's in beta. Like Battlefield 4, I have seen it played. I have played a tiny, tiny bit of it. I was in the beta for Battlefield 4 actually, and it was horrible. So I'm hoping at least they can have a little bit of success with Hardline. But here's the kicker for me. I was playing it last night, and I was like, okay, wait a minute here. I'm playing a heist on this, and Grand Theft Auto 5 came out almost a year ago, and we still have yet to get heists in Grand Theft Auto 5.
yeah.
I want that explained. um, but anyway, for me, real quick, I'm just going to list off the things here that I saw. Mass Effect conceptual footage. I love Mass Effect, so to see just even a little tiny morsel blows my mind. And then once again, earlier in the podcast, we talked about Uncharted 4, which like what they showed looked like freaking movie quality. Facial features on Nathan Drake, amazing. Like I love what they're doing with the new consoles.
Yeah, the graphics are getting better and better, and that's definitely a great thing. But I don't know. I'm not sold 100% yet on the new systems yet. Um, but like I said, I'm waiting a year on buying one, so my year will be up in about what 5 more months.
There you go. Yep.
So I gotta start looking hardcore and making my final decision.
PS4.
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things come out for the Xbox. I'm kind of rather get my hands on.
And I'm not saying that because I'm against Xbox or against Nintendo. I'm just saying that because I actually have one, and
I know you
it's
do,
always
sir.
good to have new friends on there.
Yeah, I know you do, sir.
Don't get me wrong. Mario Kart 8 plays pretty darn good. I have played actually a little bit of it at my local Walmart, and it's phenomenal. But I think one thing that's just irritating about that game is the fact that you can just upload anything to YouTube on it, and everybody's doing it. And I'm so tired of seeing Wii U Mario Kart videos.
Yeah, I tend to stay away from anything that says Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, it's gotten bad because like it isn't just my wall, but like everywhere on YouTube, it's just like Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8, and people have latched on to Luigi's Death Stare.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed that.
it's everywhere. It's like a meme all of a sudden. It's just like Luigi giving the look, you know. It's just I don't
You,
know,
you straight meme mugging.
straight up. But Mario Kart, uh, it definitely makes me like it gives me that slight itch to own a Wii U, just a
Now,
little bit.
yeah, that game and the new Smash Brothers. Do you see what they're doing with the? God, I got my notes here. What they're doing with those little figures, the Amiibo.
The the amiibo,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's an interesting thing. I know it's like Skylanders and like Disney Infinite, but the difference is you can actually save your data and take it to a friend's house and have that character and all of your stats and all your stuff and throw it into another game.
See, here's the deal with that. See that already kind of existed. It's just that it's in a new form for Nintendo. It's a cash grab, but didn't that used to be called a memory card?
Uh, yeah, I think back in 19 diggity 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at this. Even back in the day, you look at the Neo Geo arcade cabinets. If you had a Neo Geo, you could take a memory card from that and plug it into a Neo Geo arcade, which had a slot in the front, and you could play your saved games, your saved info on there, use it on the arcade machine. And, I mean, come on, this is a overinflated cash grab memory card. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is, but it's not a cute little Mario package that the kids will love to have their hands on.
Exactly. I mean, Infinity and Skylanders is just raking in just boatloads of money for plastic figures that some downloadable content could do the same thing. You know, I don't know. It's just like I said, cash grab.
Yeah, it is. But,
So
hey, whatever it takes, I guess, right?
yeah, it's money. I mean, these are companies. Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they're companies.
What
They're in business.
companies? I thought they were our friends.
Shoot. See, and that's what everybody's like. They're like, "Oh no, Nintendo would never do this." Well, you know, Nintendo craps like everybody else. You know, it's just. Oh, okay. One thing, real quick. Who like here's one term that's thrown around constantly, and it always cracks me up. But in your opinion,
Yes.
who quote unquote won E3?
Uh, not
Like
the
it.
not the viewers.
You don't think the gamers won?
I don't think anyone won this year, man. Like I said earlier at the top of the show, there is no new hardware discussed by any company. There is no updates discussed. There is just nothing really vital except for games. It's all game driven this year.
Mm,
Last year it was all about PS4, Xbox One.
right.
What's got what? What's going to happen?
See, with that, they can't do that every year simply because they don't have new tech to show every year. They don't have that new bit of hardware. Now, I will admit that last year, Microsoft made a big boo boo
Yeah.
with talking when they revealed the Xbox One. It was nothing but fantasy football, nothing but TV, nothing but this being an overstuffed, overinflated cable box. This year they turned it around. It was all about the games. But Sony, I don't know. It was like they decided to go and pull an Xbox and was talking a lot about TV. They have the what's it called? The PlayStation TV which is actually a little piece of hardware you have to buy for $99, or you could buy the bundle that comes with a memory card and a game, or was it a movie, for $139. So they were talking a lot about how, oh, you can integrate TV to like your PlayStation 4 using this thing or whatever. I thought that was kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's what the kids in the schools they call flipping the script.
Yeah. and and it wasn't a good thing for them either.
No, it's not. I mean, it's basically last year at E3, Xbox muffed up. That they said, oh, we're gonna block out used games. You can't do this, you can't do that, and we're gonna be strictly the new way of watching TV and movies and blah blah blah. And PlayStation was able to come in and say, whoa, you know what? That's not cool. We're gonna keep it the way we kept it through all these years with the PS3. Now
Right.
once they got all those worldwide sales where they're the number one console sold, now they're going, well, you know what? We're still keeping all that same stuff we've done in the past, but we're also going to say, I don't know, you can now watch TV on us, and you can do this. We're going to be your number one media center. And so I think that's what PlayStation had planned all along. I think they may have gotten some kind of word out or gotten some word back to them what the Microsoft folks were going to do last year, and they decided to play down their media center until they got what they needed,
Right.
and they totally got it. I mean, they are the number one selling console in the world. They're outselling both the Wii U and Xbox One together.
Right. Yeah. One thing that they really want to keep that trend. One thing if they want it to be a media device, they need to let us have our streaming back. PS3, you could stream from your PC, any videos and so on. Like I do that a lot. I will get a movie or something on my computer, stream it right to my PS3, so I can watch it on TV. I can't do that with my PS4. Same thing with MP3s. I mean, that's just stupid. I have a whole vault of MP3s on my computer that I cannot stream to my PlayStation to listen to.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty insane.
it's a shame. It really is. It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, well,
So
someone, I don't care who, has to come up with a way where you can get, the best of all worlds onto the gaming system. That way you can, say, hey, we do everything, and we really do.
right.
One thing I always wish that the gaming systems would do would allow us to be able to play our own MP3s or audio files in our games. I mean, games like Grand Theft Auto 5 or even like Watch Dogs, where you got shitty music playing on the radio stations. Why can't you create your own radio stations like you can on the PC versions?
Right. See, they used to do that on like the original Xbox. I remember a time when you could play a wrestling game and any music you had on the hard drive of that Xbox you could use in the game.
Yeah, if they had those kind of features, it'd be awesome because it for me at least, because I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, but my number one predominant music I listen to is punk rock, and I like to throw like 2 or 3 hours worth of music onto a thumb drive and go. And I'd love to be able to do that onto like a game like Watch Dogs, where I'm stuck listening to where the hell the music they have on there is.
Right. That would be awesome. I mean, instead of dealing with what music they want to put on there, I should have the option to have one radio station on there that's all my music.
Exactly.
Um,
They can do it too. They just don't want to. They want you to listen to their music that they paid to have licensed in there.
yeah, but I think also it's that nervousness that they could get sued by record labels because their music's being played on a game, like somebody's streaming it on Twitch, and that record label flips out. So I don't know.
True.
So anyway, I think that's where we should kill it for the night, for the
Yeah,
episode.
we can go on for days, I think, but we need to cut it out so we can get this downloaded and uploaded.
Right. So it's been fun. I just wish it could have been sooner. Like I said, work schedule just sucks. I never know when my supervisor is going to try to ambush me and say, "Hey, you have to work Friday," you know.
Yeah.
Which really, like all week, I thought to myself, I was like, "Ooh, no overtime, no overtime." And got to Wednesday, and I was on one station. He came around a corner he normally doesn't. Well, I need you to work Friday, and I was just like, because I'd been thinking about the show the whole time. I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna get to do the show finally." And then he ambushes me. I was mad beyond belief.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I was pretty stoked when Friday night he came, or Thursday night he came around. And he's like, "Nah, we got enough people." It's like, thank God. All right, good.
And
So,
then I had to muck it up with my abscess tooth.
hey, like I said, that happens. But glad you're feeling better. Glad you're getting it taken care of.
Oh hell yeah, I'm on some good meds.
Heck yeah. Like I said, I've been there. I've done that, so I understand. So. Anyway, alrighty. Well, once again, to anybody that listens, we're trying to do this bi-weekly. So don't hold us to that because it just seems like scheduling does get in the way. So just look forward to new episodes. Of course, if you're interested in new episodes, please feel free to hit that subscribe button on my channel. And if you would, after this, head right on over to Retarded by Choice's channel and click subscribe on him so that you know when we're recording, you know when we've got something new, and I know I've got a bunch of new stuff coming now that I've got my new computer and everything. I don't know about yourself.
I got a couple ideas and I got a couple videos I'm actually going to be recording tomorrow, so I'll be having probably 2 videos up this week.
Right.
One's going to be an unboxing and one's going to be a pickup. So.
Sweet. And I know for a fact myself, I am working on getting a playthrough uploaded. I did a no continue, no Konami code of Contra, and it's interesting. I can't tell you if I did it or not, if I actually won it or not, but
I know the answer.
that's right, you do. Crap, I posted that on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
I can't tell you all. I can't tell everybody else, but I can say that unfortunately the stream did not start until like level 4, the second time you're in the base. That's the most irritating part, because I might have to go back and like do it all over again. But
yeah, you might do better.
Shit, yeah, maybe. But I'm posting that here soon. I've got to get that transferred, the gameplay transferred from my laptop to my new desktop, and get the voiceover done with it. After that, I can render it and get it uploaded. And I'm thinking of doing more stuff like that. So at least that's coming really soon. So.
And for everyone out there, Classic and I are trying to get this show into a podcast.
Right.
We are experiencing some problems on doing so. So if any of you out there have any ideas or any hints on how we can get this done a little bit quicker or streamline it a little bit better, hit us up on our pages here on YouTube, and we will go from there.
Right, and you can find me on Facebook if you just type in Classic Game Freak. You can comment or message me there. Really, the only problem I'm having is just I use Audacity, getting Audacity to listen to both a microphone and an audio input to make one cohesive show. So if anybody has any comments on how you can fix that, please talk to me. Let RBC know. Whatever you want to do, make it a little bit of a better show.
Yeah, because I think if we can do just a straight podcast, not only will we have a podcast channel, but we can get them up on YouTube a lot quicker. And who knows, we might be able to do this on a bi-weekly process or bi-weekly schedule as opposed to what we're doing now. Because our ultimate goal is to get this show up on Mondays.
Yeah. Get the start out the tedium of the week right by listening to a gaming show.
Yep, yep.
That's the way I'd want to do it. And, I can see, like trying to apply for iTunes and so on and seeing about getting our show on iTunes and all that. I think that'd be fantastic.
That would be pretty cool to do.
So, yeah. So, all right. Well, that's all for me. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, I'm good.
All righty. Well, this has been Classic Game Freak.
And Retired by Choice.
You've been listening to the Classically Retarded Show. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
Peace.